ain't nothing but a Hollywood movie. They just putting up in there, you see what I'm saying? It's all fake. It's all damn fake. That's all the shit is. Drama for your mama. Yep. Give me some questions.
You had mentioned something about the struggle earlier.
Yeah, I was just saying, I was telling them about, you know, the whole thing that to look into that particular aspect. Like I said, I was telling one of the main people, one of the main books and stuff is Jordan Maxwell is the one that's got the stuff in print on that whole straw man thing and all. You know, as far as the books and stuff, and it's, you know, it's talking about your birth certificate and all that kind of thing. You know, some of the stuff that some of the printed material and stuff like that is and stuff. Some of the research and stuff. I said Jordan Maxwell has out of some material and stuff. You know, yeah. And all like that and all. You know, that particular stuff, and that's the basis of what I was telling them about all of that. You know.
So what do you think the government is doing to try to counteract that stuff?
Huh?
What do you think the government is doing? Because I'm pretty sure if they letting people know about it, I know there's a few people sitting.
But then again, on the other hand, see, they already know now that the people are bred to only respond to the media.
Yeah.
So whenever, I don't care how many, if you get 2,000 people that know about it, they don't give a damn because it's not reality to the rest of the world or to the rest of the country until they put it on the media. So as far as they're concerned, like the movie Harrison Bergeron said, you go right ahead. They ain't going to believe you no way. In the movie, when he was saying, I'm going to expose this shit. They said, how many people, he said 1.2%. even, he said, they believed it the first hour, and then after we got through with them, nobody believes the shit now. One or two little underground tapes pass around with 2 or 3 people. But the key here is the media now is so powerful until the people are now bred. When somebody breeds you for something, you got to break the breeding before you could even think on another level. It's just like religion. The media now, the first thing I've heard black people say, man, that ain't true. If that ain't true, if it was true, I ain't seen it on TV. I've heard black people say that shit. Why we ain't seen that on TV? So they have already deemed the TV is the only validity in their life. So as far as they're concerned and all, it don't exist until the damn government sanctions it. You see what I'm saying? So any type of information that we know of is actually clandestine, or it's a clandestine alternative bizarro world.
Yeah.
When it comes to the masses. And that's the only thing they worried about. And then, you see what I'm saying? Until they want you to understand. So, believe me, they've thought all this shit. And see, as far as they're concerned, it is never the people are waking up. That's some bullshit. Whenever we get some stuff, it's because them 5,000 people go, man, you know, this ain't fun. Deceiving the whole world. We gotta throw some excitement in this thing by letting a few people know what we doing, just so to see their reaction, to ultimately find out that they can't do nothing no way in that particular aspect and stuff. You see, and if those particular people do what they're supposed to do, we will let them motherfuckers get away with it, or we will let them motherfuckers go ahead and we will concede when it comes to them, because we saying, hey, since it ain't the masses, hey, okay then, you be a little bit of motherfuckers be free. But you don't exist in the real world. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, it's a game they play. If they don't have if you got a secret going on, you got a conspiracy going on, and no one really gets to know what you doing, it ain't fun no more. That's what happened on Wag the Dog. The motherfucker, he said, no one can ever know. He said, no, fuck that. I'm going to tell everybody. And they killed his ass. Dustin Hoffman in the movie. You see. But even he knew when he found out how the game was played, if nobody don't know, it ain't fun. So every now and then they got to let a few people fight the system and even get away with it. You see what I'm saying? That's thrilling to them. Because it's a game to them. If everyone was under control, they cease to be. You see, in control. Because they say there's no more now. We got so it's a game. We talking about rich motherfuckers ain't got nothing to do. So therefore, they say now the new thing is to get the truth to a certain sector, a small sector, and not only that, if they can deal with the truth and play the game right, we'll let them win. But then again, on the other hand, it ain't the masses. You see what I'm saying? It ain't the masses. But it ain't gonna never be no, the people are finding out. That's some bullshit. Before it's the people are finding out, the people will be dead as far as they're concerned. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But the key here now, the whole game shit here that they playing on the spiritual level, remember, the key here is that they got to be totally confident that they have won this war. And basically, they are marveling at the way they get over on people's ass, and that's when the shit gonna kick them in the ass, because there's some shit that they can't deal with. And that's the scunion we gonna put on their ass outside of the conventional ways that they are geared up to fight us. Or geared up to fight us. Yeah. You see, that kind of way. They can't stop this damn ass whipping. You see, they can't stop this damn ass whipping. You see what I'm saying? You know, so it's some very interesting stuff. They get all mad with me. Well, Bobby, you use white books, you know, to give out information. I say, I use white books because that's our stuff they stole. I say, but damn if I'm going to go get the cracker to come in my doggone spiritual abode, damn if I'm going to go get that cracker to come up here and speak to black people. But I didn't know that this Rudolph Winters was a part of the people. I didn't know that they was taken over by these two big white men. And then all of a sudden they got all these white tapes coming in. I didn't know that we was actually standing in the white people's thing that they took over. And what it is this here. Let me tell you what happened. What happens is this. They'll come in, and this is what they do. First thing they'll do is you will rescind all this stuff, and you say you're getting out of the system, you want reparation. The first thing they do is they get you from under the income tax. So they give you a zero balance on the government on what you owe, and a zero balance on your house. And they give 2 or 3 black people this thing first. So all other niggas go run and get their stuff. Then they come back months later and they say, where my money? You go, well, what you mean, where my money? They say, you don't understand. This is like the money store. This is ITT. You know how where they come in and they consolidate your bills, but you got to pay the consolidator? You ended up paying them, and then what happens is you done spent up some money you got from up under them, and the next thing they know, they take over your business and your home. They took over black media. That shit started being run by white boys. They had to change it from black media to cultural communications. This white boy that came in there, he was a spy for the government, and he'll come in and talk about sightings. Everybody want to hear about UFOs. He'll talk about sightings. He'll never give you the real reasons about UFOs. He'll just always talk about a sighting here. And then when you go up to the question and answer now, man, you meet it. The tape is being played is owned by the same store. You go up to question and answer. It was a spy operation to see what black people that go up and the question you ask, they can find out how much you know about UFOs and how much you know about things, and they can clone your behind or either kill you one. And it was a spy operation. So I go to Philadelphia. They into the same thing now. They done moved up here. And I said, oh, I get it now. I was wondering why the spirit came in and bust up our whole group like that in Atlanta. I said, oh, I see what it was. The spirit was trying to get black people into this thing and show them that it was a fake so we can literally go and tell the rest of the people what was going on. And all them black people lost their homes behind that reparation shit. I'm telling you, them niggas lost their houses. They come to the lectures now and they say, you know, we lost our home behind that same bullshit. That was some government stuff. And all them niggas, even Uma and them had to move out. Uma and them had to move out their house because of that thing. So you got a chance to get out of this thing now. So what I tell you what, when they took over the Patriots game, these Patriots that they got held up, they're working under the Uniform Commercial Code, rescinding the license plates, and all of this stuff about the income tax. They're working under the same system. What it is two people. They target white supremacist group and black conscious and black radical groups. And it's the government behind all that stuff. They get the white people first. So what the white people was into this Ruby Ridge and all of this particular Patriots thing, they was into it before us. So now they're getting the scrutiny behind it, and now they're coming after black people. And now it's white militant groups. A few months down the road, it's going to be white, black conscious groups. What's that?
But the IRS laws themselves, you read their codes, it tells you, the IRS books and codes themselves tells you that you don't, if you don't have to pay tax, and because you don't have income, you don't have to pay tax.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is this here, though. But you got to realize this about it, though, too. You got to understand what this country is. This country is not a democracy. This country is not a country that stands by the laws of what it does. This is a totalitarian government that says this. First of all, we don't go by the laws that we write. And whatever law we deem fit to put on your ass, we have the military and we have it to back it up, and it has nothing to do with logic, rationale, or nothing. You see, you don't understand the government. They can say what they want. And yes, based on the stuff that they was taught, see, the reason why it could go so far into the reparations is because the stuff is right. You're right. Everything that the black people was trying to do, they was legally doing it the right way. But what they didn't realize is this government, that doesn't apply to this particular government. That only applies to the elite. And first of all, based on the Million Man March, like I told you the last time, based on the Million Man March, when they counted 400,000 out of 1 million, the Million Man March, the government was telling you that they were right. They was trying to tell you, based on their laws, you are still under the 3/5 of a human being clause. So when they saw 1 million people and they counted it 400 and 700,000, they were saying in actuality, based on their laws, even though there was 1 million people embodied, based on the laws, it's you still 3/5 of a damn human being. So therefore, the laws don't apply to you, whether it was, and even some poor white people other than the elite. You see what I'm saying? Other than the elite. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing fairness, and that's what black people keep thinking. Black people keep thinking that this white man is fair based on what he says. This white man don't go by his laws whatsoever. This is a man that has 2 million black people in concentration camps. Let me preface that. Not prisons. Concentration camps. 2 million right now. And the reason how they can pull this thing off is, do you know the government is the one that put out the King Alpha plan? Yes, the King Alpha plan is right. This is see, you got to understand science on how they rule you. Everything that's on the King Alpha plan is right on how they're going to lock you up in concentration camps. But the government put it out. Now, why is this? The whole New World Order thing and everything is based on what the government is going to do in the future. And long as they keep you looking into the future, they can do it now. So they've been doing it for the last 5 years, last 10 years. And you still looking for the day for the government to just come in the street and lock you down. But this is now covert action. You see what I'm saying? You can't, so any logic as far as righteousness, you can't apply that to the beast. And that's where we get caught up. That's how black media got caught up. They got caught up in a law, and they didn't understand that this man is the damn devil. And it has nothing to do with laws. It has nothing to do with righteousness. Anytime the cracker can kill all the owners off the land off and still talk about America the Beautiful, let you know that he's a sociopath, and it ain't got nothing to do with law, period. He's a ruler and a dictator and a murderous government. And that's what we got to understand. There is no law. And the reason why we can't understand is because that TV is fucking us up. I'm going to tell you another thing. They knew, first of all, they said that the people who was born before TV, they got a better perception on things. Number two, the black and white used to come in, and when the black and white, you used to still see a certain amount of things, and it was not the same perception. It could not control you. They knew when they invented the color TV that it can control your mind, whereas you hear these new movies about the holographic stuff they're going to do. That ain't nothing but the TV. That shit been in since 1966 with the color TV. All this stuff about the holograms is TV. So you got to understand government control. They ain't got nothing to do with fairness whatsoever.
My point is that, see, the dilemma is we're in it, whether we like it or not. Since we are in it, there are many, many cases where a person, if you do this thing correctly, to keep yourself, the purpose is to keep yourself safe. That's the purpose of it. It's not to have some incorrect faith. I understand what is being said. What I'm saying is there are ways to do it so that you can keep yourself safe.
There's no such thing as keeping yourself safe. What I'm trying to tell you, how can you keep yourself safe? Do you have a fucking army? Do you have guns and bombs? Not unless you go to war with this crocker, there's no such thing as safe.
But that's in conjunction with all other spiritual things as well. I'm not talking about...
First of all, let me tell you something about spirituality. Spirituality ain't got nothing to do with no money whatsoever. Nothing. It ain't... The spirit world ain't got nothing to do with your home. It ain't got nothing to do with money. It ain't got nothing to do with how you live. Those things are all stuff that belong to a dollar broth. I'm going to go into him in a few minutes. The physical realm. The spiritual is in supreme vexation to the physical. Now understand, but what I'm trying to say is this here. Let me explain something about realms. There's spiritual realms. Your people have died from this country. Period. So, no matter how much he has taught us on how we can join or how we can do, the main thing is the Bible ain't never said nothing about being a part of the oppressive system. Never. Not in the real literature. That fake stuff they got now, give unto Caesar which is Caesar, that's some shit they put out by who? Who put that out? The Romans put it out. Who wrote those scripts? After Jesus died, the Romans put that shit out. That's propaganda. In real spiritual wars, we're talking about dialectical opposites. And I'll tell you why we know that. Because we are the actual beneficiaries of that hell to know that we so supposed to have been opposite from their ass when we made that damn choice in the damn 60s and have them to fool us to think that these laws apply to us in any other kind of way. It's just to lull us to sleep. Seriously, I'm telling you, the spiritual ain't got nothing to do with, the physical ain't got nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. The reason why I know is this here. Do you know that every day of my waking life, this is what I do? I'm not talking, see, it's a difference. What I'm talking about here, the concept of what I'm talking about here. You come to a lecture and you can hear, but there'll be days that you just off into the world. Do you know every time I'm talking to a motherfucker, I'm thinking of this stuff. I am constantly in this thing 24 hours a day. This is all I think about. And I swear to God, last year, the financial shit got so hard, we was begging the spirits to help us, and the spirits said, we ain't giving you jack shit. We had to move out of our house. Her car got hit. We on the damn bus right now. We ain't got no money. And the spirit said, now you know what real spirituality is. All that other bullshit that the people thinking about they being blessed, about some spiritual, they're saying, once you get to a high level, you got to separate from it, period. We just gonna give you just enough to keep your ass indoors, but no other thing else. And I'm telling you. Now, I'm telling you that I was in bad shape. You see, and I was in this thing constantly, but I understood that the physical is in supreme vexation to the physical, and that's the actual prison house. We're gonna go into that in a few minutes, real big. How much time we got? Out of time. But let's go on. I'm gonna get into that real good in a few minutes. In a few minutes on what we're talking about here. Now, huh?
When Solomon came to the conclusion. That's where Solomon came to the conclusion that it was vexation of the mind, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Vexation.
Yeah.
Vexation of the mind. About the world, he said.
Right.
Vanity.
The vanity in the whole 9 yards and what they're dealing with here. Now, let's go into this particular part about a dollar broth. A dollar broth, his name, let me spell the name right for you. Spell the name right for you. The book you want to get is getting a book called, his name is Bentley Layton, The Gnostic Scriptures. This is the best one that just came out. If you know anything about the Bible, you will take this like a fish to water. You see what I'm saying? It's called Bentley Layton, The Gnostic Scriptures is what it's called. Now, it says, listen to this. The Judeo-Semitic myth of Genesis is the understanding completely contrary to the conventional interpretation of images. Now listen to this. In the Gnostic mind of the Gnostic scripts, it says the Gnostics hold that the material world is ruled by evil forces and may be. And it said, and most say that the material world is in actually a creation of the evil demiurge. Surprisingly enough, when the Gnostic thinking is applied to the Judeo-Semitic myth of Genesis and understanding, is completely contrary, and it says to conventional interpretation of images. In the Gnostic mind, Yahweh, Elohim, of Genesis is identified to the demiurge of the creator of this world, and this is the evil one. Now listen what I'm saying right here. Now listen. It says Yahweh is also called I-A-L-D-A-B-A-O-T-H. I just say a dollar broth because I like it the best that way. A dollar broth made by many Gnostic sects created the world of natural parts of humanity. But tried to keep, now listen to this. It says, but tried to keep humanity or humankind in slavery and in darkness and separate him from the transcendent light. And what it means by that is this. What it means by that is this. You had the great mother, and the great mother, Sophia, or Newt, you got to get this. It's in the Dogon script. You can get it in the Pale Fox. You can also get it in the Sirius Mystery, in the part called The Knowledge of the Dogon. You can get it in the Gnostic scripts. Now, mind you me, the Gnostic scripts is what is the precursor to Christianity. The Greeks had the Gnostic scripts. The Romans, when they had to fashion a new religion because Romulus and Remus was not working, it was the Gnostic scripts that they used to fashion this new Christianity, this fake type religion that Jesus didn't even teach about when he was here. Half of that stuff, that old bull jive of customs and stuff, they got it from the Greek stuff. Now, the Gnostic script that came out of Coptic Egypt, it explains that Sophia was creating this particular man. She created a dollar broth, but a dollar broth was anxious, and he didn't want to hang around long enough to get created. So he tore out the side of her womb. When he tore out the side of her womb,
he became an excrement or a spittle of excrement, and he disturbed the natural order of things. And when he disturbed the natural order of things, he was not all the way created. So he came down here, because he was not all the way created, he had a restless nature. He came down here and created the physical world. She decided, she said, why don't you create this particular man? And when they created this particular man, he said, so this man can worship you. It's going to be, you're going to get the complete tale in the book, The Secret Books of the Egyptian Gnostics, on page 37, by Jean Dorès. Secret Books of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Dorès, page 37. When he created the man, she said, why don't you blow your breath into the man? And when you blow your breath into the man, the man can worship you. The man can worship you. But when he blew his breath into the man, she snuck up behind him and blew her breath into the man, and he got the original Adam, which was created for $1, but he didn't get because he didn't stay around long enough. So $1 was mad, and he says, I am a jealous God, and I shall have no God before me. But $1 said, but Sophia says, and you hear that in the Bible, then they cut it off. The Romans cut that off from the Gnostic scripts. And $1 said, no, excuse me, Sophia says $1 don't lie. There is a man that's greater than you, and he lives on earth.
So we see this year when they show all those doggone internet parties, the internet parties with the doggone the internet parties with all these people is trying to get new jobs because all they doggone so-called .com network shut down and it was all out of work. And so that was the so-called Y2K, not no computer shutting down, and that was the biggest hoax ever. But it was all about this whole thing about this internet was a hoax from the get-go. And it's no more than the damn Yellow Pages now. You know what I'm saying? Big deal. But it's not like it's going to be your gateway to new financial freedom. You see what I'm saying? Multi-marketing and all this kind of shit here. You see. So the movie Rollerball talks about that great computer. They also talk about how they showed them they lost the 13th century basically in the movie. They talk about how they fouled up the 13th century. And they said, oh, well, it was a bad century anyway. And it's going back to say that history is a lie agreed upon. As well as trying to tell you that in so many words, they can basically literally delete history anytime they want to do it. And that's what happened when they deleted the history as far as when it comes to our history. But when the movie first comes on, the guy John Houseman, who's one of the ones that was the executives over the rollerball, which is a violent sport that kills people just like football or whatever type thing, it don't really matter. Whenever your job is to go to work and stand on the line and hit another damn human being and stuff, and you don't think that's grotesque. You know what I'm saying? But the key here is talk full contact sport. But the key here is when they right after they go into the locker room in the movie, John Houseman comes in and he's one of the men that's like over the actual league, and basically the league is run by the secret societies of the Illuminati or Big Brother. And he says, when you see us, he said, when you see us in our gray suits, now basically this was a conversation between the black man and the white man. When you go back and watch this movie, he said, when you see, he's talking to the rollerballers, which is the actual people who play this grotesque sport. And he's in the locker room, he said, you see us as executives, And we know that you all want to be like us in the gray suits. That's like black people want to be all corporate like and want to be like high-end crackers. They say you see us in the gray suits and you want to be like us. He said, but what you don't realize, it is us in the gray suits, or us white people that want to be like you rollerblades with all them muscles and that whole physique and the whole 9 yards who want to be like the black man. You see, it's in the actual movie, and so the movie, the Illuminati takes his wife, and they want him to retire because they don't want a superstar to get so on top that the people don't follow Big Brother and start following the superstar Jonathan E. as the Messiah. So they tell them they want him out. And in the whole movie, he don't want to quit. So they send his wife back to him that some executive had taken. They sent his wife back to him, and his wife is trying to get him to quit. And he said, oh, I see why you came back. And he's talking to her, and he said, you know, he said, a couple of years ago in the late 20th century, because this is like 2000, this is like 2025. He said a couple of years in the late 20th century, a group of people had a choice. They said that they had a choice to have a bunch of luxury items and a bunch of luxury items, or they had a choice. They had a choice to have a bunch of luxury items, but they also had a choice for freedom. But of course, they took the luxury items, or they took the luxuries and they gave us their freedom. You see what I'm saying? So the key here is, and so the woman said, well, wait a minute, civilization has always been about man trying to rise up against poverty. And he was like, wait a minute, civilization wasn't like that at all. It had nothing to do with man rising up against poverty. But see, here it is again with the modern mind thinking that the world has always been the way it was. Let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, one sister could not believe that the pyramids could be built without slaves. I said, it wasn't built by slaves. She said, but look at the labor force. How would they get the labor force? I said, the same way they get a labor force to go downtown and build a motherfucking building downtown. Do they have to be slaves? To build a building downtown. See, the concept, what is put into the mind, especially through the whole Christian aspect, are basically what the white boy want to give you to say how they stand. Oh, this shit has been going on forever. We've always had people holding down other people. And it's not necessarily true. Give another example. We can't even imagine the world being without any monetary system. Even the barter and trade was like, we still think that the monetary system was based on barter and trade. It wasn't based on barter and trade. Barter and trade was a side item. And so some people said, wait a minute, hold on now. If they didn't have a system of a monetary trade, how did the people function? How did the people function? They said that the people just function. They said, how would you get the people to go to work to build the pyramids and build the temples and all? If they wasn't getting paid nothing. I said, if you living in your damn house and your child is designated to wash the goddamn dishes after school, they're not washing the dishes to get paid. They washing the dishes because they know if they don't wash the damn dishes gonna be piled up. You did things based on that was the lot in civilization. If you didn't do those things, you didn't have a damn civilization. Not necessarily based on monetary gains. So we can't even think of a world where they didn't have nothing. So we still think that the African thing, if it wasn't the monetary system, it was based on barter and trade. No, it wasn't based on barter and trade. The barter and trade is a later system that has nothing to do with way the doggone Africans function. They didn't have no type of damn system or nothing based on material trade. They just went to work and did shit because if they didn't do shit, they didn't have a goddamn civilization. That's right. And we still thinking that the shit is based on barter and trade. We can't even think of the concept of when people say, well, I got to get up and go to work. Because if I don't go to work, the goddamn temple don't get built. Had nothing to do with what I gained from it. What they gained from it is the civilization, which comes complete with spirituality and whatever other damn thing that functions in the civilization. So right now, you can even see, even with the way we think now, we think that it always had to be that goddamn way. So in so many words, everything in the society was free because the whole concept of receiving something other than receiving everything, you see what I'm saying? Was good. You say, well, how can that be? You ain't got rich motherfuckers right now don't even live off money. Everything is provided because they are heirs to an empire. You get where I'm coming from here? So, even in the movie Rollerball, she was thinking that the shit that was going on in 2000-something, where everybody was based on materialism, had always happened. That's because they rewrite history. Exactly. And we don't understand civilization has nothing at all to do with trade, period. Now you get trade, but that's just a matter of getting some stuff that you didn't have in the land, but it had nothing to do with a monetary gain or any type of gain. You basically work because that's the function. It's a part of your rites of passage. You understand where I'm coming from? So we got to even change the whole mindset of what we even think of what civilization was. You see, and these are things we didn't even address, even when it comes to the Afrocentric movement, because every motherfucker up there wanted a goddamn Mercedes. Why? Because it was birthed out of doggone black upward mobile. And anything birthed out of black upward mobile, they are materialists. Exactly. Who gives a fuck? They talk all that Afrocentric shit, but I tell you right now, there ain't a goddamn nigga up in here now that will goddamn trade their luxury items. That's right. You know that shit. Be the first motherfuckers to cry when some shit get cut off. But remember, get the movie Fight Club. The movie Fight Club is one of the most advanced movies that came out. You saw The Matrix, see The Fight Club. But the problem is most of you won't be able to get past the goal to understand what's going on. You're going to be looking at what's visual because that's how you train. You train visually and you don't listen to what Brad Pitt is saying based on the conversations on the psychological realm. The man is having, the whole thing is based on a man having a conversation with his own self. And he realizes he can never be free based on the material thing. What bedroom set defines me as a goddamn individual? What dinette set defines me? You see, you are not your job. You are not your house. You are not your automobile. And until you lose it all, you don't even have to lose it all as a person that just walk around the street with a cane. And just walk around the street with a big pole and say, I'm doing it because I done lost it all. That's not what we talk about here. What we talk about here is a mentality where those shits can only be a utility. Exactly. They say Krishna comes to free man from materialism. And then the material world. But what keeps the damn matrix in place is you love needful things. You are all, even right now, your shit. You see? That's it. So right now the first thing you do, you will learn spiritual concepts. And the first thing you want to do is you want to take the spiritual concepts and try to find out how can you turn the spiritual concepts to work for you to get more material items. You see? And you never get to the prize. The prize is until you lose it all, until you give it all up. That's the only time you win. You know, that's the only time you win. One sister called and said, man, I just want to know, where does my life go from here? I said, when your goddamn life stop going anywhere and have a contempt for life, then, then you can start doggone functioning in life. Life is pointless, like I said last night. And until you realize life is pointless, you understand? You don't get it. You see, that's what they say. Give up. He said, you got to let go. And that's the problem. We don't want to let go. That's right. You see, because in our minds, we are only into the consciousness to better our lives materially. You see, we care nothing of trying to find the great mystery. And the great mystery is, over and over again, this is only an illusion, a lie. Question reality. Question reality. Now, to build this city. I said, no, they got the city. And I was telling them about it, and I actually saw the damn thing. I'm up in the lecture telling them, and I'm actually looking at this damn glass city. And then I thought about it. I was in my head. I was telling myself, God damn it, I'm actually seeing this shit. And that's what we talk about tapping in. But you got to allow yourself. It comes to you all the time. But you go, oh, that's some bullshit. I'm just thinking crazy. You do it all the time. Oh, I'm just thinking crazy. You see what I'm saying? But this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And all you got to do is go to the movies. Because they file it, they tell it, right? What's going on? So this is what's going on to our people. Let's go on. We've even got some things that they've been cloning blacks since the 1950s. We know that at least 1956, the announcement of an invasion of the body snatchers. So as I tap into this shit, it gets even worse. Now, I'm going to say some things, but then again, I don't give a fuck. Because the Spirit came to me and said, well, they set up the whole civil rights movement to get you to integrate into society, so therefore they can handle you on a certain way because you would be more accessible to them. Now, we know that. But then again, I said, well, in that case, they had to do something to Rosa Parks because she's the one, that Martin Luther King came to her defense and all that old thing, but she was the one that so-called stepped on the bus. Now, last week, we're sitting up in the crib. My girl said, wait, there's somebody in here. I keep seeing this person out the corner of my eye. But the Native Americans opened her up back in '94, and she used to be bad channeling all. But then again, they said, but as we got to a certain level, they took the channels away to make sure that we don't get dependent on that, because they want you to use your own energy in your own mind. But she started seeing this being. She said, somebody up in the crib. And when we got into bed, she said, oh, the guy came, it was the angel Azazel that I just told you about. He said, well, I'm coming because now I'll give you some protection. Because see, somebody broke it. See, what happened was I came in here and I told you that there was a group of guys that ain't shit. I told you, these motherfuckers been around here partying, and we've been praying to their asses while we've been down. And I said, but fuck them. I said, I'm going to call on these other deities.
the ones that they hate. They got mad, and the next damn day, a fucking house got broke into. You see, stole the TV and the VCR, you know, that's cool. I looked at it, I said, my books ain't gone, fuck it. You see, walk right past the damn money. But anyway, this Azaz here, he came and said, we giving you some protection. And the first thing he said, yeah, you know, they cloned Rosa Parks. I said, I knew it. I said, damn, this man, and I said, yeah, she was one of the first clones. Okay, you sending some crazy shit, look, take it or let it alone. But we know since 1950s they started cloning people, and in January the 5th of 1975, they started cloning people in mass, especially black people. This is some real deal stuff. So this can constitute for all of the stuff that was going down with all the gangs and the dope and all that stuff. Those are robots. Now it's interesting because, like I said, I saw the movie Watch Stats with the concert that they had, the concert to celebrate the great uprising of Watts. And everybody in Los Angeles was conscious. All in the barbershops, everybody, all the sisters and brothers is conscious. Now they go back damn 20 years later, everybody's a motherfucking idiot. Walking around with damn gold hair and stuff. That meant that they had to replace a group of people with another group of people, with robots. Then they came on the damn TV. Black History Month, you know, Channel 30, ETV or whatever shit, showed all this black stuff. They came on the TV and they said, man, all the people are gone. So the guy making his greatest assumption of what could happen to them, he said, well, they went back home. So them niggas didn't go back home, they killed them Negroes. They said that the ship was, they said the thing is like 60% underpopulated in the Watts and Compton area. And they figured that the people just got out based on the gang. No, them people are dead. They cloned the dope dealers, and a lot of them people they took off just like they're doing here in Atlanta. Very key that you understand this. Very key that you understand this. We are in the war, but we are thinking on some other thing. So now, I go to the AU Center, they got everybody talking about the revolutionary shit. Now this is the biggest bullshit ever because it's almost like a government program. They come because college life is the time for you to talk shit, and you can be the greatest revolutionaries and all that, wear all the black, and then by graduation time they cut off all them dreads or whatever type thing, and them niggas go, and you don't never see them niggas no more. We took over Marsh Brown in 1989 to get black studies. I ain't never seen them niggas no more. Then you have a few little stragglers running around still trying to do some things. But they get all beat down. You know, they open up the Kepler School. They might do some hot lunch programs and all that kind of stuff. But hell, even that, we got to get out. We got to think bigger than trying to save some motherfuckers. We got to destroy the earth. And we got the means to do this thing now. We're going to go into this tonight. So the key is now everybody into the revolution and the liberation. And but now the good part about it is this. They had this rally Friday. And I was sitting there watching it, and although the egos was all up in there, after a while the spirit got away, and these damn Negroes were serious. For a minute, the spirit got away, and all them children out there were saying, fuck America, fuck America. And I said, oh, the government might be up in here, but he don't know. He's fucking with some stuff, and it's going to get out of hand again. You see what I'm saying? Because he keep messing with that melanin. And for a minute, I saw it. I said, oh, this shit getting out of hand. He don't know what the hell going down. It's very key that you understand this. You use these symbols, and these symbols can conjure up a certain amount of energy, that you can use this particular energy to heal, to do anything with it, to change outcome of your life, and do different things with it. So when we're looking at this thing, this is the reason why Philadelphia had this big 30 feet of snow. Because they was invoking a certain amount of energies, and this particular stuff comes down. Now, don't think that this stuff, now, I know it might sound a little crazy, but if you understand the concept of what they talk about, these esoteric teachings of these sigil magic, you can understand that you could take these particular emblems or these symbols, and they create power. In this book called Practical Sigil Magic by Frater R.B.G is one of the books that's dealing with that. And it even tells you how you can take your name and your particular one and create your own symbols. You see, very interesting on what we saw in Philly. Now, the beast is going to make movies because the spirit world inspires him to make movies to teach you. A movie came out in 1990 that you need to go rent. And I'm going to give you a list of movies in a few minutes. The movie, and nobody would ever think about this. They even see this thing. Some people saw it, but nobody would even think about it. The movie is called Quigley Down Under. Anybody ever saw this thing? Tom Selleck starred in the movie. It came on TBS. It came on again last night because I know it came on Thursday night. Anyway, this is a movie about him going to doggone Australia and going up against these people while they are killing the Aborigines. And they was taking these Aborigines and throwing them off the cliffs with babies and just shooting them down for sport. So now, we've all heard about how the white people killed the Tasmanians and the Aborigines and shot them down for sport. But here is a movie came out in 1990 that documents these things. So you're supposed to take this kind of stuff and use it as a documentation, not for the white man because he knows the history, but to show doggone hard-headed Negroes. Not dead Negroes, but Negroes that's conscious. Let me get into that right now. Because I told you about this the other week, the last time I was here. And this is the science on what's going on. First of all, and there's a book that comes out of England, I think the book is like $23 or $24 book. It's one of the best books written on the apocalypse ever written. It's bad. This book, if you ever get your hands on it, is by Floris, F-L-O-R-I-S, I guess what? Floris Press out of London, England. And the name of the guy is Emil Bock. I always mention this book. E-M-I-L-B-O-C-K. Emil Bock. Emil Bock. Do y'all have a Borders bookstore here? Borders bookstore. I know they have them in Philly and they have them in Detroit. They have an unlimited book. They have an unlimited book line, which means that they can order books from all over the world. Oh, you can get it. Okay, brother. Well, you see this brother back here? He say he can get them also too. The book is Emil Bock and it's called Apocalypse of St. John. He was a student of Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner, which I'm going to get into, was also the teacher of Adolf Hitler. Now, this particular book will explain, what's that? Well, I thought so, but listen. They might have discontinued it in publishing houses, but I was able to order one of the other books by the same company, and I know that book is still in print. You just have to work a little harder to get it. But in that particular book, they'll tell you the apocalypse, when it starts, it will be 10 years in the making before anybody even got an inkling that the apocalypse is here. Because you would have been conditioned so much to bad news until you know nothing will not excite you. You understand what I'm saying? So they kill us 10 million people, you go, well, you know, people die every day. These cliches will come upon your life until nothing will excite you. You understand what I'm saying? So it can be, so they can condition you to the point whereas if a person from an ancient time would come up and see you now, they would say, oh my God, it would shock the hell out of them. But you are conditioned because you live in it every day. when Christ comes back, he's going to take the church up first. You ever heard this? In the Bible. And the other people will be left behind until he comes again. Well, first of all, there ain't no cracker on no damn cross. Or no white horse. If Christ is talking about what? Christ consciousness. The church is, this is your church, the physical body. And what they need is, there will be a group of you particular people that will be advanced souls that you would be taken up, you would ascend. So everybody looking to ascend. When I go up ascend, you have already ascended the ones that's in consciousness now. Well, how do you know? The difference is you can even be in here and even hunger for knowledge. You understand? This stuff is, I mean, each of us, man, I gotta have this knowledge, right? And then you can go to another brother or sister on the street and they'll kill you even when you didn't try to get it to them. They all right here. Right? That is because there's two dimensions, and that's because you're looking with these two eyes. This is the physical, which is a hologram. If the physical would disappear, you would see some people with the sun on the inside of them. Your life would be lit up, and some people would still be dormant. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this means that the movement, everybody talking about we got to hit the masses. That's romanticism. What does it mean? It means that the movement, there's no such thing as a movement. It's always a group of people that's the spark that ignites the rest. But it goes like this. We are gods. What has happened is, the ones that you in here, sometime in your reincarnations back past, you decided, I'm going to set my timer for this such and such a day, or this particular season that I'm going to wake up. And that's the reason why you woke, because you timed yourself to wake up in the future. Now, if I time myself to wake up at 11 o'clock, and something will come up in there waking me up at 6, I'm going to be awfully pissed off. You understand? So the difference between you and those particular people set their timer to be woken up at a later date, but not years later, because we are people are constantly waking up each day. And this is the difference why you can have some people who could have been going movement after movement after movement. They've been doing this stuff for years. You understand what I'm saying? And they can't seem to get out of politics. They can't seem to still jump around in the churches and not know what the deal is. They can't seem to do nothing outside of what they were doing in the 1980s. But they've been here, you say, damn, I put it out on the right in front of this person. They know all the movement. They know all the books. They collect the dust. Well, why is it that they don't understand? Why can't they wake up? And the reason why they can't wake up is because their time is not on. And then you can have a person right there on the street and never heard nothing. You can tell them this stuff for the first time. That's because his timer was ready to wake up. You understand what I'm saying? Now when you wake up, you have chakra systems. You know about the 7 chakra systems. Like I said before, if you are not radiating from the heart chakra, you are radiating from the root chakra. That means your consciousness is in your bowels. And anything that the root chakra, it can only absorb that which is on a mundane level, which is ignorant stuff, which is things that's normal, ordinary things. What the church gives them on a month, esoteric, exoteric, which means the outer garment, other than the inner garment. You understand where I'm coming from? So this knowledge gets in and it bounces right off. Whereas you, because your heart chakra is pulsating, you go, okay, I'm getting it. That's when you get the old word, his heart in. Or you know your heart just went in. You ever heard these things? These are metaphysical terms.
talk the same, they have the same discussion. You know, before we used to just have black people just invent something new. That was coming from the grassroots, but they done locked up all of them Negroes. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you know, the genius. So how that nigga thought of some shit like that? You know what I'm saying? And it didn't have anything to do with education. It was the creativity. They said the black people in this country wasn't in this particular country, America would be a third-rate Europe. You see what I'm saying? Or a second-rate Europe. It would have never caught on as a unique country. It caught on as a unique country because of the black people or the indigenous original people in it. And our creativity. You see what I'm saying? Our creativity. And one brother was over in England. He was like, man, he said, I come back here and there's hardly no culture here compared to what I saw in England. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, man. I said, you are comparing white culture to their parents. So they ain't got a lot of stuff over there that they do, nasty ass crackers over there. And you're comparing whether the white people over here on the level as the people in Britain. I say, but there is a culture in America. The only one there is. And that's African culture or ancient indigenous culture or black culture. I put different things like that now because we got to get out of this whole continental bullshit. This whole continental aspect of one piece of landmass when the whole planet Earth was our shit. You see, so this is what's also fucking us up. Is we still stuck on the continental aspect, but we had to start somewhere. So when the whole thing was laid down on the Afrocentric movement, and which was coming off of the university level, the white people said, well, you gotta pick something. Now, you can't be all over the damn earth now. Well, we are just giving you Africa. Hell, we was lying in Egypt. You know, they was even saying that South Africa was damn originally white. So they're saying, you know, you gotta pick something. Say, that's okay, we'll settle with Africa. So that's a political aspect where everything is in categories when you deal with the European aspect of where he's going to present things. You see what I'm saying? Everything is in categories. So we understand we had to start somewhere, but we got to understand this particular part here also, that the whole concept, we're talking about the whole entire earth. That's why Iraq was very important, because we was talking about fighting on ancient indigenous Kushite soil. You see what I'm saying? So that is the reason why that was very important, because it was also about you. They wasn't going up in there getting up no arrows ever had. You see what I'm saying? Because the Arabs never produced nothing. The white arrow. You understand what I'm saying? The white arrow. So the concept here is we still got to get that particular aspect out of our mind as far as this continental. We are more than continental. And as we go into this stuff, it's a universal thing and all, because when we start peeling back the layers, we find out that the only way that the white boy could have existed putting his foot up our ass is there had to be a group of guys that allowed them to do that. And they need to be unmasked also. So this is a war not just on the surface of the earth, but this is a war in the heavens. And they don't want to get up off the glory of sitting around doing nothing while we are their slaves. And we'll get into all of that type of stuff, but I'm going to politely read some stuff from the University of Chicago on Sanskrit text on how the actual gods that we worship say they don't even really like us. You know, the good part about it, I can say these things for the simple fact that, like we said again, I'm not a part of a group, so therefore, I'm free to give you the research, because it's really not a blessing that you even know this stuff. It's a privilege that we all get to partake in this particular information. So what we're talking about here is, the concept here is we're not talking about a group where we're trying to convert anybody. We're talking about students looking at additional information and making up your own fucking mind. You see what I'm saying? Because in the damn story, the cult thing sure wasn't working for me, because my damn gas is cut off as we talk right now. So obviously, if I was into exploiting people, my gas would at least be on. So, shit, in the goddamn story. So I have no reason to come and try to get you to believe a certain way. That's not important. The thing is to still give the people additional information, you see, and you do what you want to do with the information. That's the difference when we talk about students and begging to be students. Why? Because all of the so-called cult leaders are being taken down. Dr. York, gone. Pleaded guilty, 15 years. He pleaded guilty. End of story. Won't ever get out. Dr. York, finished. H.R.B.G. Brown, finished. Farrakhan, retired. He said he retired the other, you know. Your boy, he can't even mention nothing about Yahweh then Yahweh. He can't even say the word Yahweh. He go back to jail. But what is going on? First of all, they're all male. That's the first thing. And all males, and what it is, we got the rise of the divine feminine, rising back up, the great mother. The rise of the new goddess, and the divine feminine rise back up. So therefore, if a male benefits from an old system of superiority, that whether it be put in by the white man, we still benefit from that shit by exploiting the people, the downtrodden, based on a patriarchal system, they going too. So what's happening here is, the reason why them niggas is in jail, because them niggas is going against the grain of the divine feminine. You see what I'm saying? H.R.B.G. Brown put the veil over that sister's face. Black women walk around in Atlanta all covered up, you can't see nothing but their eyes. I'm glad that nigga in jail. You see what I'm saying? What's his name? People don't know. Dr. York ran a welfare ring for 20 years. You go in the community, you get on welfare, you give him the money, and this is the basis of where he built his civilization from. So you saw him down in Egypt with the pyramids and all that. You don't understand. He had the money from that. He started that in the 90s. That was nothing. He had exploited black women for damn near 20-something, 30 years. Telling people he's from the planet Risk and he right from Marcy Projects, right out there in fucking Brooklyn. Same project that rapper Jay-Z and them is from. He's from Marcy Projects. Telling motherfucker he from the planet Ritz. I'm asking, I'm taunting the goddamn followers, because you know you couldn't tell them shit. I'm like, I want to know how a motherfucker from the planet Ritz can't get out of a goddamn jail cell. He got enough technology to come down here from the planet Ritz, and he can't bend no bars. But I know niggas from the ghetto can get out of every jail cell. I know a nigga from Mullins, South Carolina. They can't hold this motherfucker. You know? Get out of any jail, you know what I'm saying? So shoot, we don't have to be from planet Risk to do that. But my point here is, and what's going on here is, they're crumbling. And it's not just the blacks, it's the whites too. The Catholic Church, gone. Islam, finished. They let a cracker put their foot up them Arabs' ass, and they ain't nothing but a bunch of fuck boys. Because ever since 9/11, them old white nasty Arabs ain't nothing but a bunch of fuck boys. Which is good. Why? Because they were a part of the slave game too.
That's right. That's right.
You see what I'm saying? They got slavery going on right now in Mauritania and in Nubia and different places like that. So the hell with that white Arab. You see what I'm saying? So they put the papacy gone. Bunch of fuck boys. You know what I'm saying? You know, screwing men and stuff like that in the whole Pope thing, you know, in the Catholic Church. Like I say, buy them all a bunch of butt plugs and put around their head, their neck. Give them their butt plug, because we know what they about. So what we're saying here is, you seeing the walls tumbling down. You know, tumbling down. We see the walls are tumbling down. You see what I'm saying? And you see this stuff and all because you don't understand. That's the divine feminine coming back. You see what I'm saying? That's what's coming back. And so it's overturning all of these particular systems that put people on lockdown. And put people on lockdown, and it put the black man on lockdown because we are from a feminine society, a matriarchal society. You see, you got to understand the difference between that. Now, we are from a matriarchal society. So it put us on lockdown. You see what I'm saying? So this is very interesting how these things are overturning. They're not just, it's not just the black groups, they're getting the white groups. You see, this is why they got to go up into Iraq to find certain rituals that they can save themselves when we go back into this particular science in a few minutes. Over. So they just missed the street all together. My point here is, we have that kind of spiritual energy. This is a picture of Marie Laveau. You know the famous Marie Laveau, yeah. The voodoo priestess. The voodoo priestess. This is a picture of Marie Laveau. And they used to come to her house to arrest her, and they couldn't find the house. They couldn't find the house. There was a sister I was involved with briefly who was an Oshun priestess. And they came to her house to cut off her doggone electricity, and the meter was right in front of the house, and they couldn't even see the meter. So when you're dealing with these spirits, you're dealing with a whole nother dimension. But what I'm trying to say here is this. They are weak. And you are supposed to be strong, but you just don't know it. Because you are more in, because you still locked down on the low realm, which is the mundane realm, worrying about mundane things. You see what I'm saying? And what it does, it cuts your power, but also we have immersed ourselves in this element of fear, and that's by way of the Illuminati. That's a form of mind control. So what happens here is we get more and more people coming before you, telling you all these things of what the government going to do. And one of the mysteries is they don't never do shit, but tell you they're going to do stuff. We're supposed to be going to the concentration camps in America for the last 20 years. And then we figured out the King Alpha plan, what they call the Rex 84, it was put out for just that. Since when did you know they're going to do something to you and they announce it? They just do it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's a form of fear that shuts down the melanin, that keeps you on lockdown. So your cage, you see what I'm saying, as far as your invisible bars is fear. Now Farrakhan said something back in 1984 at the Power Tour. He says, if your slaves went to war with you, the slaves will win. Now in 1994, I said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Thinking about all the firepower and all the stuff that the government has. But he was right. Let me explain what's going on. The East Indian government got a grant in 1974 to do work on what is called the chakras and the Kundalini energy. So they got a grant in 1994 to do work on this, and they concluded, based on the grant, they ran out of money, so it was a short-term thing, but they did it for a couple of years, but they had concluded that there were devices. Remember, this is the most important thing you got to understand. The only thing here is you got to be aware of it, of your own power. So if you are a lion and you thinking you a skunk, you can't access the doggone lion power because you so busy trying to be a fucking skunk. See what I'm saying? Now, this is one of the most important things that you got to understand right now. Is the reason why you think they're going to come in to study your DNA. And we want to trace something back to Africa. They ain't studying you about no Africa. They're studying your doggone DNA because they already know there's devices, and this is what it says in the Sanskrit text. There's devices that is in the body that will come online when the race is threatened with extinction. So they have to go wisely and conspire against you. They do not announce the day of battle because they know there's devices that's inside of you will destroy them. You see? So as a result, but they also know that one thing they do is they keep the fear of this mightiness
Because they know you at a hair's inch from going to your God power. You see. So all the Illuminati and all the David Icke stuff, David Icke is a government agent.
Yep. Say that again?
Government agent.
Yeah,
All that bullshit he's doing, David Icke is a government agent.
oh, yeah.
You see? Why do you think they ain't killed him yet?
Exactly.
Let me tell you something, man. He's on the History Channel on American TV. They had him on the History Channel. Anybody that come on that History Channel is government. There's real people. They got a white boy called Dan Winner from the United States government. He did a whole lot of metaphysical stuff based on a black hole that was in the region of Orion, which is Osiris. And in that black hole that was in the heart of Orion had something to do with the DNA with the Osirian people on the planet. They kicked that nigga ass, that white boy, white man. They kicked him out of the United States. They can do that. They kicked him out of his own country, so you no longer welcome. He can't even come to his own country. So my point here is, anytime you see somebody on TV, they're already a government agent. They are not in the business to bring you your heroes and your leaders. If they're on TV, they're already a government agent. You see what I'm saying? So David Icke is to put forth what it is he is a person to turn you against your Uraeus energy, which is the reptilian energy. You talking all this old stuff, they get the George Bush and the Queen, they all reptilians from Mars. White people ain't from no fucking where but the caves. Come on. That's like the moon thing. They've been to the moon. Since when you ever know a white man that goes somewhere and don't return? He ain't never been to no moon. That was a part of a mind control mission. If we tell them we went to the moon, they would think we gods, and they would think that we are capable of anything. And our reign will be supreme. See what I'm saying? Our reign will be supreme. They can't even create a decent medicine. You see all the side effects that they advertise? They made them about 10 years ago start advertising the side effects. It'd be 100 side effects, you see what I'm saying, from one symptom. They're into curing the symptom but not the cause, because they can't cure shit. So how the hell are they going to go to a moon? See what I'm saying? That's the greatest real estate in the world. Why the hell you think you think that they colonize your land and they can go to the moon? And you believe that? They did a whole movie on called Capricorn 1 with O.J. Simpson and this named it Mars. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we're talking about mind control in a particular aspect of fear. They don't get fear. They know it. They know that they can keep your melanin shut down by telling you how mighty they are when they are weak. You see what I'm saying? And your DNA is changed. Now is take this thing as far back as we can. We supposed to have had an overhead projector, but since we didn't have it, I must show you a pictorial image of what this is all about. So I got the overlays, so what I'm going to do is just pass this around and be kind to just look at them, glance them, and glance with these. First we'll do is yes. And so we can get some type of an image of what's going on. I guess the best place to start would be the beginning. And that best place would be the Nile Valley. Since the first brothers and sisters stood up at Mount Kilimanjaro and in a way took a mythology, took a doctrine to manifest spirituality. And in that way, we see our brothers and sisters was not only in the image of God, but was God. So we'll get into that tonight. God, man, and his God, man, and his man, God, are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Anyway, one of the oldest relics that we can find from the Nile Valley will go all the way back to what the white man calls Atlantis. And this is a trickery, because he says that Atlantis is way older than Egypt. And he said it's just supposedly this place that sunk in the ocean years before Kemet, and the actual people of Atlantis, the refugees or whatever you want to call them, the immigrants, people Egypt, people Africa in the Nile Valley. And this is how Kemet or Africa got their religion. And the miraculous civilization that we know as Kemet, or the Nile Valley in East Africa. What we have found out is a 19th century scholar by the name of Gerald Massey really put some light on this subject. And that light was that Atlantis was in fact the pre-Egypt on down the Nile at the beginning of the Nile Valley, rather than someplace in the Atlantic Ocean, where you have one person, Plato, when he was in Kemet, in the mystery school, overheard some priests talking about Atlantis. And just overheard it. Went back to Greece and mentioned it, and now you have over 3,000 books written on all of this about Atlantis. We haven't seen one iota of a religious doctrine or any survival mechanism that we know coming out of Atlantis. But we do know that one of the actual deities that so-called survived Atlantis is the god Tahuti, or Thoth, known in Greek as Hermes. And supposedly, we know now that we can trace him all the way back to the beginning of the Nile Valley. The picture that you're seeing that I'm going to start from is called the Zodiac in a temple called Dendera. This is the temple of Dendera. Pass that around. The temple of Dendera was built at the end of Kemet, Egypt, in the Ptolemy period. And the Egyptian priests knew that the light of Africa was going out, and they foresaw the future. They knew that one day this thing would fall. They could prophesy years in advance. We know now that the Bible, the Torah, the Quran is prophetic history of a people. We can document that, of a people in the hills of North America today. They knew that this would not be around. So this temple, a later temple, thousands of years after Kemet, or after Egypt was a great empire, they built this temple. They got the instructions from this temple out of an older temple that they tore down, called at the same site. They used to tear down these temples and use the same stones to build new temples. And the directions, what to put in this temple, was in the crack in the wall. And as a result, we have this zodiac. It's called the Zodiac of Dendera. And in this Zodiac of Dendera, we see the first gods. And these gods were supposed